see.
Even so.
Attendee and it's taxpayer. Would that be Ian?
Oh, probably. Good afternoon, everyone. We're going to call the regular council meeting to order at 5 p.m. September 10th, 2025. I just want to express gratitude and a big thank you to the trail partners today. We had a trail ribbon cutting ceremony, the opening of the rail trail, well attended. A great group of folks, lots of people showed up, and you know, it's a legacy project. The Ferry Society brought people over. It was a brilliant morning, and Sycamore Sean, the partners that are collaborating together to make this trail, you know, what it is, Sean. So it was a great morning and a great opening for the rail trail. So for those of you that attended, thank you very much for being part of that. Approval of agenda, recommendation that the regular council meeting agenda for September 10th, 2025 be approved as circulated. Councillor Rich. All in favor? And that's carried. Thanks. Adoption of minutes, recommendation that minutes of the committee of the whole meeting and regular council meeting held on August the 27th, 2025 be adopted. Councillor Evans, Councillor Bushel, all in favor. And there we go. No in camera, no public hearings, no delegations. I'm gonna just breeze through this. We should be done probably in about 15 minutes. Bylaws and policies, permissive tax exemption bylaw, first, second, and third readings. I'm going to take that away as soon as I read the recommendation that the District of Sycamoose tax exemption bylaw number 1111-2025, not for profit, be given first, second, and third reading this 10th day of September 2025. Can I get a mover? Councillor Bushel, Councillor Beach, Councillor Evans.
Myself, thank you.
Thank you. Bianca, you want to take it away?
Yeah. So this is the permissive tax exemption bylaw. So what permissive tax exemptions do is out to nonprofit organizations and churches to exempt them from property taxes. So we do have a policy, and that policy is a 4-year policy. So right now we're on a term from 2024 to 2027. However, if there's ever any ownership changes, because we list them within our bylaw, we have to change that. So this one's a little bit more of a housekeeping one, because one of the properties has changed ownerships from Shuswap Community Church to Sycamoose Community Church. And so that's what kind of started this bylaw. And then also being a bit of a housekeeping item, we are supposed to include in our permissive tax exemption bylaw, include any long-term leases of municipal properties and list the tenants. So we've included 502 Cedar Street, which is leased to the King's Kingdom. But this is just more of a housekeeping, just adding them to our bylaw to clean it up. So no real tax implications, as these are already right now tax exempt for our purposes.
Thank you, Bianca. Council, any questions? Councillor Bushel and Councillor Rich.
Through the chair, Bianca, we have a couple other tax exemption bylaws, like one for the seniors, one for not-for-profits, and then this one. Is there a reason why we have 3, or can you amalgamate them all?
I think next time we will amalgamate them.
I just was curious.
I looked back on what we've done in the past, and we've added one not within our usual cycle, and we just create a new one that lists for those couple years, and we leave the other bylaw intact. Okay. So really for not-for-profits right now, we just have 2 bylaws going together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Councillor Rich.
Through the chair, do all our churches in town get taxes exemptions?
Yes.
So 3, 4.
Yeah. So legislatively, churches receive tax exemptions. Okay. We still have to put it through our bylaw, but there's not really an opportunity to really disallow it. Sometimes there's a little bit of issue with churches when not the entire property is used for church purposes, for example, like thrift stores, if they have little businesses going on, then we can kind of tweak it within our bylaw to make sure that they're getting the proper exemption, but legislatively, churches receive that exemption.
Go ahead.
Through the chair. With King's Kingdom, I think the tax exemption was part of the deal with them. When does that run to? Because they're not a non-for-profit, they are for a profit. Is that correct?
So they are set up as a society. So they are under legislation set up for a society, which is eligible for tax exemptions. Their lease agreement isn't up for a number of years. However, at the end of this year, we can start putting some stipulations for them to pay for certain things and pay a lease amount. So that will be coming to the 2026 budget discussions. But as for property taxes, this is one where usually you wouldn't charge that, or you would just incorporate it into the lease payment to make up for it.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Bianca.
Anyone else? Call the question, all in favor? And that's carried, thanks.
Bob, that-
Bob? Okay, we're going to go to staff reports. Development variance permit number 25 DBP 0111 1720 South Squaw Road or South Squaw Sycamoose Road. Recommendation that the District of Sycamoose Council approve development variance permit 25 DBP 0111 for the property located at 1720 South Squaw Sycamoose Road. Could I get a mover? Counselor Bushel, Counselor Rich. Nicole, do you want to take that away?
Yep, thank you through the chair. So the property we're looking at today is 1720 Salsqua Sycamoose Road. This file came to us as a building permit for an accessory building, and it just has a couple variances. If you want to scroll down there, there's a little map, might have to zoom in a bit. So in our zoning bylaw, a bathroom in an accessory building must not exceed 3 square meters, and it may only include a toilet and a sink. I think we've heard this before in previous meetings. So for this application, the applicant is proposing a 4.52 square meter bathroom. And the reason for the larger footprint is to accommodate a toilet, sink, shower, and washer and dryer in the utility building. That intent behind the 3 meters squared roughly is just to limit the potential for a suite to go in there. With this one, we're not concerned. It's a very small building. We may be more concerned when you see these things in a garage, but even then, we've flagged this for a future bylaw amendment to see if there's a better way that we can deal with any kind of concerns with suites inside of garages without the appropriate building code requirements. So the applicant confirmed, like, there's no intent for this to become a suite. It's a very small utility building for personal use. And yes, we've seen similar requests to this before. So tonight, we're just recommending that council approve the variance. All I've got.
Thank you. Council, any questions? Let's call the question, all in favor? And that's carried, thank you. Strategic Priority Grant Fund Finlayson Park upgrades. There's a recommendation that council support a grant application for the upgrade of Finlayson Park through the 2025 UBCM Strategic Priority Fund program under the capital infrastructure stream. Can I get a mover on that? Councillor Rich, Councillor Bushel. Bianca, do you want to go ahead with that one?
Yep. So since the last meeting, staff has been working with local trades, electricians, everything in order to build up the plan for the Strategic Priorities Fund program for infrastructure for the Finlayson Park upgrades. So very similar. This is the same layout as last time. The one thing that we've also included for council's information is just kind of a layout of how we're looking at the multi-purpose recreation building. Showing the ice rink, a 40 by 80 stage, recreation storage, washrooms, and mechanical room. So not much changing there. We've been receiving support letters for this from different organizations in the community. It's pretty much been my life for the last week working on this grant application. And then the last one, second recommendation. So there's two parts to the SPF fund program right now. There's the capital infrastructure stream, so building a big project, and then there's capacity building stream, which is more plans and getting prepared for infrastructure requirements. So speaking with Daryl and where the wastewater treatment plant registration process is now, this lands perfectly with the next stages. So this year we'll finish up working on our registration, working with the province to determine next steps. And then after that, a liquid waste management plan is needed to support a greater plan for what needs to be built out. So 2 streams and council resolutions are required for these grants. So that's why they're here before us today.
Council, any questions on the first one? Councillor Rich.
Yeah, through the chair, appreciate all the work, Bianca, and I hate to add to your thing. We had talked about the curling rink. I don't think we talked about knocking down the museum, but again, we have that museum building is at some point it's got to go. And we did talk about the skateboard park. And if there's 7, like what did we apply for? How much money did we apply for?
Right now, the grant with just the baseball diamonds and the basic skating rink, not the entire structure, I'm still waiting on numbers on that. We're already sitting at $3 million. So I'm thinking that we're going to come in at around, I would guess it's probably around 5.
Councillor Rich.
Yeah, so through the chair, so best bet is just to go for what we're going at and leave the other ones. If we ask for too much, we're not going to get. Is that kind of where you're coming from?
Yes, through the chair. And also like one, answering the questions within the application. Honestly, it's been a little bit of a struggle in order to like answer the questions and get both the baseball diamonds and the ice rink to nicely mesh.
Right.
So expanding it any further is really, really hard. And also one of the big things too is tying it with strategic priorities and our other documents, which baseball field and the ice rink really fit right now. Whereas the ice rink and demolishing the museum aren't really outlined in any of our priority lists. So it would be a bit more of a reach, and I don't think it would overall help our application. That makes sense.
Go ahead.
Yeah, through the chair. Thank you. I wanted to clear that up, Bianca. People have been asking, and that's really great that grant is getting done. And I think our park's going to be awesome.
Further comment on that, there may be an opportunity for, not in this grant application, but in other grant applications. As they come up, there may be an opportunity to do a bit of a study, particularly on the curling rink. We don't really, part of why we can't include it now is we don't know a lot of details on what would need to be done for that. So doing a little bit of a study on the current facility as well as what would need to be built, and have a bit more of a conversation with the curling groups as far as what should be constructed there, how do we build that so it could have year-round use. All those pieces just needs a bit more work. I would expect that as we do the park plan for Finlayson, more of those discussions will happen, and when we look for grants to do that study work next year.
Council Bishop.
Yes, through the chair, you did a great job on the presentation, Bianca. I do think the location of the facility for the ice itself is really key, and having it accessible so you don't have to walk across the grass of your skates and stuff like that. And if it was closer, and maybe we find other funding to relocate a school or demolish a school or whatever they're going to do with it. But it's really, it's kind of, right now it's kind of in the middle and a tough place to get to. But I like the idea about putting the road in and looping the water line and all that. That's a great idea. Yeah, thank you.
And I do have to give a shout out to like our local trades and stuff that are helping with this, like very passionate, and there's a lot of talk in the community. I mean, I went to pick up a pizza on Friday and someone asked me, are you working on that grant application? So it is very exciting. And just on the position of this rec building, I think is really key because it really makes it the core. And also it's nice because we still have enough distance within these ball diamonds to still make them totally usable for the different users currently using it. So, yeah.
Thanks, Bianca, and that's awesome that there's a buzz in the community.
Yeah, through the chair, I'm just looking at this. Every time we set up an event in the park, that location is pretty much where we tried it, like the last, the last Music in the Park in Finlayson. That location is where we do it, and even if we use it as an ice rink in the wintertime, it's kind of, with the skateboard park and everything, it fits. I like it. I like that location. It's great. It works for every event. So.
Anyone else? Okay, let's call the question on that. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. There's a second recommendation that council support a grant application for liquid waste management plan through the 2025 UBCM Strategic Priority Fund under the capacity building stream. Could I get a mover on that, please? Councillor Evans, Councillor Beach. Does anyone have any questions on that? No? I'll call the question. All in favor? Thank you. Okay. Union of BC Municipalities Convention, resolutions and minister meetings. Campton, take it away.
Thank you. Through the chair, I have the pleasure today of speaking with everybody about the upcoming Union of BC Municipalities Convention, which will take place in Victoria from September 22nd to 26th. And I've just prepared a couple slides to go through all of the exciting things that will happen at that convention. So like I mentioned, it'll be in Victoria, and the theme this year is charting the course to reflect the increasingly complex landscape that local governments are navigating and emphasize the partnerships and cross-regional collaboration that supports effective planning and long-term outcomes. At the convention, some advocacy tools that council will be exercising include resolutions and ministry meetings. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. But the networking and the presence at the convention itself adds huge value to our community. So we'll start off with our resolutions, just a quick overview. A couple of these were submitted and endorsed by SILGA, while a couple were actually submitted directly to UBCM. So during the convention, the District of Sicamous Council will have 5 resolutions that go to the floor, which is a great number. I'm really excited to see the outcomes of that. And those include compensation for road rescue services, municipal infrastructure plan library, provincial oversight of water, streams, wetlands, and riparian areas, increased defense against invasive mussels, and provincial reforms to bail administration. The next tool that council is going to be involved in is meeting with ministers. So I was really happy to share that council was successful in achieving 5 minister meetings. So at the convention, council will have the opportunity to meet with the Minister of Health about the Sicamous Health Center and the prospect of a lab, the Minister of Transportation and Transit about the R.W. Bruin Bridge project, the Minister of Housing and Municipal Affairs about local government infrastructure, specifically the wastewater treatment plant, and the Minister of Land, Water and Resource Stewardship about watercraft inspection stations and riparian areas permit processing times. And finally, the Attorney General, where council will speak about provincial reforms to bail administration. So I think that this represents a wide breadth of issues or challenges or opportunities that are really relevant not only to Sicamous but to our region, and also a really good opportunity for council to bring some positive energy and a solution-based mindset to these provincial conversations. So I'm really excited to see what you guys do, and I'm really excited to hear how it goes. There will also be some learning opportunities that council will partake in. So I thought I would take a brief second to highlight all of the great sessions that will be attended. They'll address topics such as climate hazards in housing, care for those in need, healthcare, affordable housing, agricultural studies, and libraries. And then I'll give it back to council, perhaps to discuss what they're excited about, or if there are any questions, I'm happy to answer them. But overall, just excited to see what you guys do and what you bring back.
Thank you, Campton, and thank you for putting all of this in a binder for all of us to review and prepare for. We really appreciate that. So, and the packages that we will be leaving with the ministries as when we leave. Does council have any questions for Campton?
Just noticing on the news yesterday about the bail administration. So again, we're up there front and center.
Absolutely. And it's interesting because that particular day I'm attending, of course, with council and with the CSRD, speaking to it as well on behalf of the CSRD, because it is that important to this council and me as well. So the chair and I will be going to that meeting as well. So. But I think that we do have some great resolutions going in. We're meeting with the ministers that we want to make a difference with. So I'm feeling pretty good about going into those meetings, and I think we're already well prepared, but still can prepare a little bit more. But yeah. Okay, let's move along then. Resolutions. There's recommendation of the council appoint Lorenzo Del Archangelis as the fire chief for the district of Sycamoose Fire Department in accordance with section 3 of the District of Sycamoose Fire Department bylaw number 126, 1995. Could I get a mover? Councillor Evans, Councillor Rich, Shauna, do you want to, Dean, one of you want to take that away?
Chair, it's just a matter of housekeeping. Upon his hire, we have done all the transition with the OFC, where he becomes, the OFC is the Office of the Fire Commissioner, and we transfer badges so that he becomes our local assistant to the Fire Commissioner. And this is really just a housekeeping item to bring it in alignment with our bylaw.
Perfect, thank you. Councillor McCabe.
Our fire chief brought some recommendations for budget considerations. Have those all been resolved or approved, or we'll wait for our budget meetings? Or
I'll speak to that. So this is somewhat independent of that. No, those haven't come to council yet. That'll come further in the fall of the budget process. We begin that budget discussion. This is strictly a housekeeping component to the assignment of an officer.
Councillor Rich.
To the chair, I'm just a little bit confused. I thought he was appointed. So we're, I think, 18 months Lorenzo has been with us. Has it been about 18 months? So is that normal? Like, I thought that we did all this already. So it just, honestly, I feel a little bit of blindsided because we haven't had any information in here except what Shauna just gave us, and I'm not really sure what's going on, to be honest.
So, go ahead.
Thank you for the chair. So upon his hire, we appoint him through the Office of the Fire Commissioner, and all that transition, there's a badge number. It was all appointed through the local official for his job. Where we hadn't done it is just through resolution to come in alignment with our bylaw. And yeah, we're just, it's a housekeeping item to bring that in alignment. But all of the appointments through, like I say, through the OFC were completed on his side.
We also, we did this with the bylaw officer as well. We had to go back and do some housekeeping with.
So as a part of the process and, with my coming here, we've been working through all of our bylaws and all of our appointments, ensuring that we have all the alignment with it. We identified that earlier this year with our bylaw enforcement officer as well. So as we identify these things, we're correcting them just to bring everything in alignment. There is no change or alteration to the fire chief's work or any component to it. This is just, as Shauna said, a part of housekeeping as we're correcting bylaws.
Okay. Councillor Bushell.
Yes, through the chair, I was under the same impression. I wasn't exactly sure either. I thought we did this with Daryl, the last CEO, and I was just kind of caught off guard too. I didn't know. I thought it was done.
yeah, I had to contact the mayor and ask why that was on the agenda. Same thing.
I think that was everybody's understanding, but when we actually went through and reviewed the resolutions, there wasn't a formal resolution for this component, so we're just housekeeping it.
Okay. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, that's carried. Thanks. Okay, correspondence. We have some correspondence for action. The Shuswap Trail Alliance funding request. So, questions? Go ahead, Councillor Bushell.
Oh, this isn't part of our budget, so this is something new, right? Okay. Has other communities had to do the same? It's just kind of like the first I've seen this.
Yeah, I didn't know.
I have I don't know of other communities, if they've sent this out to other communities, but yeah, it is a budgeting process. And it is an item that we don't have budgeted. And we have turned down some of our locals, as a matter of fact, for amounts less than this. So I guess it's up to you guys right now that we have this conversation and decide if this is what if we need to find some money somewhere. Bianca.
So within the administrative budget, I believe this could be absorbed. We've had a few less council meetings and stuff like that than we have in the past years. So, there's room.
Councillor Bushel, then Councillor Rich.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I think the artwork is really nice and I haven't seen it at nighttime and everything, but I checked it out. It's really nice. And there's something, it's something new. I like what the Trail Alliance has done with the whole project. And yeah, I just was interested to see if it was in our budget or not.
No, it's not a budgeted item. Councillor Rich.
Yeah, through the chair, I just think we need to be. I have found in the last 3 years on council that we do not, we give ourselves rules and bylaws and then we change them. So I think we have a policy and procedure for this, and it's not that I don't like it, and it's not that I don't think this is the way we should be doing, but we do need to follow our policies and procedures, and I think just everybody needs to hear the rules, this is how you get money, this is when the money is given out. And I love that people are asking, and I think the biggest thing is to send them back and say, here's where our granting opportunities are, here is how we can help you get the money you need, and here is how much money Sycamoose taxpayers have to give to extra projects.
Anyone else? So I guess, go ahead, Hampton.
I just thought that I would mention, I was in contact with the people from the Sequetmic Landmark Project and have found a destination partner agreement between the District of Sycamoose and the Trail Alliance for this project. I don't see anything in the provisions of the agreement about a grand opening and a budget for that, but I am in contact. So this is something that I can convey to Shelley and her team, and we can work together to see if there are ways that we can support a grand opening that don't necessarily address the budgetary request that's being made today, if that makes sense, if that's helpful. But I give that option to council.
That is helpful because, as Councillor Rich pointed out, I mean, if before the budget, and if it's not budget, every request for some funds would have to be approved, right? So we're in or we're out. And right now this isn't budgeted for. So me personally, I would have asked that this had been included earlier and they had asked earlier, but right now for me, I don't think that this is the time for us. Councillor Evans.
Yeah, I think it's a great celebration, but some of the costs were kind of surprising to me that they're that much for some items on there, and so I kind of like Captain said that I think it'd be good to go back and say, hey, we weren't expecting this, and is there other ways that we can maybe look at it's a pretty hefty price tag for some basic items. Like I went to the opening of the boathouse and some of the things that people are getting paid for, I just don't think that they should be getting paid for. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Just a comment, as Campton has noted, the district certainly could offer to provide in-kind services that can help with tables, chairs, other components to help the event be successfully done, and we're certainly happy to do that. There is no budgetary cost for us to provide that service. So if council would like us to pursue that conversation with them, we certainly could do that.
Councillor McCabe.
Yeah, I agree with our CEO, Dean. We can help with in kind without monetary funds. So our response, I would suggest to make a motion that we respond that it's a good support, but we're not budgeted for it, but we can help with in kind.
Did you want to make that? Do we need that motion? Councillor McCabe, do you want to make that motion?
But I just did.
Okay. You got it, Campton?
Yeah.
Debit? So we get a seconder, Counselor Evans. Okay, all in favor? Okay, thanks. That's a great solution. Thank you. All right, correspondence for information. I'm sorry. Did somebody, what?
Oh.
Okay.
Hand up.
Correspondent for information. Okay, has everyone had a look through there? Is there anything that anyone wants to address? Counselor Rich.
Through the chair, there was a letter from Lori about our health center. And I think, I just want to put it back out there. Gavin, I don't know Gavin's last name, had sent us some lovely images. Gavin is a huge part of our community, and he's also very educated and skilled in this. I would really like to invite council and Sicamous to push forward having Gavin engage as an expert on getting our landscaping and that area done in front. I think it's really important. We've built this incredible building. We've got our sign figured out, Gord. And now that's kind of the last piece. So it would be wonderful, I think, to invite Gavin in and kind of be that expert, because he actually is an expert on this stuff.
This is an update. So, yeah, we met with Gavin. He does have some wonderful ideas and it's all being incorporated. So we're going to have a public session this fall. We did, council previously had made the commitment to the community. Before we did the landscape project on that space adjacent to the building, that we would bring the public in and they would have an opportunity to give input. So we're going to have that session in the park space. So actually invite the community out, have an input session for it, and all of that information will feed into that process, and then we'll begin the design process. There is some landscaping that is going to be done. The soil was spread earlier this week to do the hydroseeding, just to clean things up a little bit, putting in the planters and so forth, and then we're going to have the larger consultation likely in October, so that we can begin that work in the spring. And he has some really neat ideas for our work, which are great.
Campton?
I just thought I would mention, I received this letter from Lori and made sure she knew that it would be on the agenda, but since I've been in touch with her to let her know where she can watch out for public engagement opportunities, just to make sure that her ideas are a part of that process. So
Perfect.
I've
Thank
closed
you.
the loop on that correspondence from the staff end as well.
Thank you. That's awesome. Okay, does anyone else have anything? Counselor Bushel?
Oh, through the chair, yeah, I just want to acknowledge Deb Heap and the banner crew for all their artwork and, you know, their showcase submission. That was just amazing work that they all did put together, and yeah, I just wanted to acknowledge they did a fabulous job and things look really good. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, that's great. Counselor Rich and Counselor Evans.
That's where I was.
Okay. Counselor Evans.
Yeah, I just want to acknowledge Monica Cooper's letter about bicycles. And yeah, we have bike lanes, and even when I was a kid, I was told you bike on the road. And I would agree with this letter that we should probably recommend to people, we should not have bicycles on, especially with the advent of e-bikes. Like she says, the speed with which they're going on our sidewalks. I'd have to say that I think bikes should still be allowed on the trail beside the highway, because it's safer for cyclists to be on that trail, and they just have to be cognizant of people walking on the trail. I biked home today from the grand opening of the rail trail. You just gotta keep your eyes open. But on sidewalks, bikes and scooters should be not on the sidewalks.
Absolutely, I agree with you. And just to take this to another level, I've been getting a lot of calls and a lot of complaints, not just about bikes on sidewalks and those very fast little electric scooter skateboards. Which,
Yeah, with the big wheel.
oh my goodness, they do travel, and kids aren't wearing helmets, so it's a safety thing as well. But a lot of complaints about bikes, the speed of bikes, this e-bike, dirt e-bikes.
Yeah, dirt bike.
So a lot of, because they're quiet and they're fast, right? So if you're not paying attention and these kids don't have the skill set or the driver training, so it's, you know, I'm hoping that parents are spending some time with their kids and teaching them, you know, how to deal with that. Councillor Rich, then.
Through the chair, and I think this is one of the things where technology is faster than the government. And I think Sergeant McNeil is trying to address this and work with the community with trying to educate and how these fit in. But because I think, like, honestly, e-bikes have been around for maybe 3 years, and then these new faster bikes are coming on, and it's just not legislated for anywhere. So they're caught in the middle, but I've actually seen our RCMP out, and they're just really trying to educate and keep everybody safe, because we just don't need a bad accident. But kudos to them.
Absolutely. And parents as well need to sit down with their kids too. It's just not up to the RCMP. It's up to parents to make sure that, you know, they're having that conversation with their kids. Go ahead, Councillor
The
Beard.
chair. Yeah, and I think all of the safety issues, the sharing of sidewalks, the speed of these e-bikes and everything, we have to really start to clamp down and enforce the helmets. And not just for kids, for adults. Everybody needs to wear a helmet, because the adults are setting an example for the kids, number one, but it is a safety issue. It is a health issue. And we don't need more costs because people haven't taken proper caution. So we need to cramp down on that right away as it gets busier.
Councillor McCabe.
Yeah, I might be guilty with the safety issues and helmets.
I didn't say your name.
Helmet. But I have an e-bike, and I was just yesterday on Shoe Shop, and I had one of them scooter kids pass. I have a odometer on mine, or speedo, and I was doing 27. I try to keep my bike under 30 in town. And he just whistled right by me. He must be doing twice as fast as I was going. He just went like I was standing still on that little skateboard stand-up scooter thing. He just whistled by me.
Yeah.
He had to be doing 50 or 50 plus.
No, I hear you. And yes, we need to pay attention. Go ahead.
Yes,
Councillor.
Chair, I agree with Pam. I did see a big kid today without a helmet on the rail.
Sorry.
Big kid.
A big kid.
Thank you.
But I think we've been doing some communications as well, getting the message out, but we're going to continue to do that and encourage parents and to slow their kids down and pay attention to what's going on, like the kid that passed Council McCabe. Wow.
I did not point my finger at Councillor McCabe. Just want to say that. I have another question.
Go ahead.
Okay. I do believe that we also had a letter of concern and a question about why we don't have, and I'm not sure, coverage on Highway 1 through here to regulate the traffic and really watch the traffic. It was saying that they had gotten extra enforcement on 5, but that we needed on Highway 1. And I would agree that during construction and all of this mess, we need some extra help with that. Is that something we can?
Councillor Beach, that is in correspondence, and that's from Brent Hollingsworth.
Yes,
About
Brent Hall.
Highway 5, and I agree, I have that on my screen right now. I wanted to talk about it because we have had a lot of incidents on Highway 1 coming in to Sycamoose, and CVSE they are tough to spot on the highways now. There are fewer of them. And I think that's something that we do need to advocate for. And I totally agree. And I totally, I'm grateful that Brent has brought this to our attention. And maybe that's something that we can have a look at as a council too. Go ahead, Councillor Bushell.
Yes, through the chair, I think, that whole corridor from the Alberta border this way is, I know the mayors once all got together and they were with a different government. we're pushing really hard for more, more inspections and more RCMP. And I think that's, that's something that could be started again with all the mayors between, because this highway is so like,
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's pretty scary.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, sorry?
A lot of traffic.
Yeah. Any other correspondence anyone would like to address? Okay, all right, that's it. Okay, we're gonna go to public input. We've got 15 minutes. Anyone in the gallery? Kelly, go ahead up to the oh, you don't need to go up to the podium if you don't want to. Just state your name.
Council, staff. Couple of things. One is totally unplanned. Your UNBC thing, if you need some information about what's been happening in our local area regarding road rescue. I've been keeping statistics on that really quite clear because they were last year. Not as clear in the previous year. I did give Sheila DeRose some stuff to go to when she was having a conversation with ministry. There's only 7 groups left, and I think there's 2 that are going to be on their way out. And it is my opinion that at the end of the day, road rescue needs to be part of the municipality. We're seeing it with this CSRD. There's 2 areas that are going to start training. They'll only do extrication. They won't be doing road rescue, which is what we do. We actually, on the 6th of October, will be donating some equipment to the CSRD to that fact, so they all don't have to go buy out their own equipment. Second to that, I did send a letter to council, mayor and council and CAO this morning, or early this afternoon, I think it was, regarding Eagle Valley Rescue, and that we have determined that we are going to remain as our own entity going forward at this time. We're actually sending our chief for first responder training so that he will be a trainer and he will recover some funding or some costs associated with that by training others in the area and police should they want to. And on that note, as I go through the dissolution stuff last year and reading all the material, there's been this love-hate relationship that I don't really understand between fire. Shauna, you've been there. I didn't realize that until I started going through some of the material. That there's never really been a really complimentary, in my opinion, I didn't live it, I'm just reading stuff, relationship between fire and rescue. And it's time that we change that, because there were 24 incidents here in Sycamore proper. 5 of those were responded with Sycamore SFR. We are starting to train, like we have 3 members from Swansea, we have 3 members from Malacca, and we have 3 SFR members that are also part of our crew at this time, and which makes sense, because if we go to a scene in any of those directions, if some of those people are trained, it just makes sense for them to become part of that process. But you can't serve a scene, with 2 hats on, so you either have to be part of them or part of us. So the bottom line to all of this is it would be really great. I know, Dean, you have been working with Jeff, and I need to get involved in that process, that potentially if we could have some space at the Sycamore Fire Hall for our equipment, our gear. We're right now we're buying bags for people because we also don't really have access, and the access, even though it's going to be people at fire, people at Malacca or Swansea Point, there's not the opportunity for them to have a fob. So we bought bags so that they have their own equipment with them, and we don't have to worry about that particular thing. So this is my formal request that at some point in the next 30 days, if it would be possible for us to talk and maybe map out a small well, not a small space, because it's been kind of small as it goes. We are approved 9, we plan to be approved 12. And it would be really great if we could feel that we are part. You don't know us anything. When I looked at this in the historical information, the biggest thing that the fire department was always wanting to know is, do you have liability insurance? Yes, we do. So if we could like bury that hatchet and like start being adults and everybody got out there and do what they do, I would be grateful, because it's gonna be in that fire hall anyways at the end of the day. It's just a matter of time.
Thanks, Kelly.
Kelly, I haven't received your letter yet, and certainly once I receive it, I'll review it. And certainly that was our expectation after our conversation earlier this year. I knew this was going to be coming this fall, and it's great that we're hearing that EVR has made some decisions on what they would like to do, and you've sent it to me. I just haven't had a chance to review it. I have not received the email.
Okay.
So once I receive it, I'll definitely review it.
That's great. And although Jeff has been doing that, I think the board needs to have a little bit of a spot at that too. And I appreciate all that you've done. One other thing. So it's been working really, really well with Dean taking on the administrative stuff. He's timely, he's fair, he's in a good situation. So, beyond that, beyond not having a space to call home, we're glad to be here.
Thank you, Kelly, and thank you and the team for all that you do for our community and working through this. And I think that Dean has got a plan to work through this.
I met with Jeff and his assistant at the fire hall on Monday. We went through their immediate needs, and he did indicate at that time we would be receiving some more information on what the board would like to see as well as he would like to see. And certainly we're ready to review that information. We recognize how important EVR is to our responses in the community, and we want to accommodate whatever we can within the fire hall and so forth. So we'll definitely review it and respond to it right away.
Awesome, I really appreciate that. Thank you.
And if you want to have a meeting, we can certainly have that as well.
Awesome.
Thanks, Kelly. Anyone else? Anyone online?
No one's interested in speaking online.
All right, well, let's call the game. Recommendation at the regular council meeting for September 10th, 2025 be adjourned at 5:47. Could I get a mover? Councillor Evans, Councillor Rich, all in favor? Have a good weekend, everyone.